Conversation with myself like this better work. That's why I get peace of myself almost every verse. I spent my whole life grinding, I ain't asked for help. I used to starve as a kid, I had to feed myself. Remember all the hard times we kept trying. And we rise and we fall. The times we had to walk, now we stay flying. Now we grind till we ball.
Welcome to another episode of Artist at the AB Club. It's your boy Westside, and I got a special guest with me today.
Hi, I'm Miss B. How are you guys doing?
All right, so I want to thank you so much for coming through. You know, this was a little way of making, but we finally got it. I'm glad that we're here.
Right.
So I want to ask my first question, which I always start off with this. Where does music start for you, and who would you give credit to putting music in your life?
Definitely my mom.
Okay.
She loved all the oldies, you know. She was, she liked all the Elvis and all those guys, which we know. But yeah, definitely her. Definitely her.
Okay. All right. That's good. Shout out to moms.
Shout out to her.
All right. And exactly where you from?
I'm from Germany.
Germany.
Right.
Okay. Shout
Europe.
out to Germany. Shout out to Germany. So how you ended up out here? Like,
My dad's American. He's
Okay.
Italian. He's from New York. He was in the military over there, so I'm a military brat. And
shout out to the military brats.
I grew up over there, and my mom was German. She worked for Lufthansa, like one of the, back then was like the top airline. You had to actually be good looking to work for them and have a certain height and stuff. So anyway, they met, and that's how I came about.
Okay, and exactly what brought you here?
To the United States?
Yeah, to the United States.
I mean, I grew up in Germany for a little bit of my life, and then we moved to Spain, to Marbella. And I went to, like, boarding school in Europe and Switzerland, all over the place. And I came here to go to University of Miami, UM.
Shout out to UM. Shout out to y'all. Hurricanes. Okay.
Right.
And so you came out here, you end up going to school out here. So what made you stay? Like,
Well, we always had a vacation spot in the Keys because my dad liked to dive. So I've been coming here since I'm like 13. So we always came here. And then when I was like 17, 18, I was like, okay, I have to go to school. And I stayed. So my parents ended up coming back. And my dad, for some reason, decided to become a politician after everything. And he ended up being a commissioner in the Keys, and then a mayor for the county in the Keys. And he was politically involved with Tallahassee, and he did a lot of stuff.
Okay.
So then we all stayed. We all came. My sister, my mom, my dad, we all ended up staying here. Yeah.
And then I end up settling down here. All right. So how was that for you as far as like being a daughter of a mayor? Like, watching that, that close, like what was that for you?
Everybody was in my business all the time. They wrote about me in every magazine, or, they have all these little newspapers and stuff. And it was always like, whenever my sister and I did something, like say we got pulled over and we were acting crazy, when we were younger, they would write about it.
I can imagine that's a little difficult. You're growing up in the public eye, and we've seen it, different phases for different type of people. But so like, how did you deal with that as far as like that attention?
Well, we were raised to always, no matter what went on with us, when we went outside, we always smiled and did what we had to do. That's what you politicians do. So yeah. That's how I was raised. But yeah, it was a little difficult because I'm kind of like I was kind of like the rebel. So I was always doing what I wanted to. So I was always causing a little trouble and always in the public eye. But
So did it take you a while to adapt to it? Or were you able to pick up on it? Because I'm pretty sure you're thinking like, all right, I can't do this because this might get picked up.
Honestly, my dad was always really, really well known. Even when we lived in Spain, he was very, very known. We were always a known family wherever we went. And when we came there, it kind of led up to it, But it was difficult for us because we wanted to do what we wanted to do, and and there were certain things that they wanted us to do, and I didn't agree. So I kind of left when I was like 18. I was like, okay, I'm out of here.
Oh, so you was out on your own at 18.
Kind of, I went to UM. Like, my parents still supported me, of course. I come from a good family, but yeah, I pretty much did my own thing. You know, at least I thought I did.
Okay. All right. So I want to go into your profession, right?
Right.
Tell me exactly, what do you do?
I'm a Bell Bondsman.
Okay.
I own a nationwide bail bonds company. Nationwide, that means every state that does surety bonds. I'm a surety agent. So there's private bail bondsman and surety bail bondsman, and I'm a surety. So if any of those counties are private, then I can't, you know, my insurance companies that I write for, they don't service those counties, and I can't write there. So nationwide meaning everywhere where we are able to write.
Okay. And how did you get into that? Like, what led you to that field? Because was that something that you always knew you wanted to do?
No. I went to University of Miami and I studied. I had all these different majors because I just kept switching my major because I just wanted to get through, and I ended up doing communications. And for anybody that knows, it's like an easy major. I just wanted to like get it done, you know. So then I ended up. I've never used my degree. Never. I ended up going to the Keys. I grew up really good. So when I really wasn't dealing with my family anymore, I ended up, you know, a dancer. So I danced. I danced through college. When they pissed me off, like I would dance, and I danced, you know, after college. And then I was like, well, you know, I made it a profession. I ended up owning a strip club for like 6-7 years throughout all that. Went back there. And I had like always seems to have like these boyfriends that always went to jail. So being in the Keys, you know, the Keys is small. We all know each other.
Yeah.
So I ended up marrying this guy, and he got a $500,000 bond, like $500,000. Ooh. So yeah, I became real cool with the bonds lady. Yeah. You know, she really was the one that put me on. So she was like, you know, well, B, you know, we were doing payments, and I would refer bonds to her. And then she was like, why don't you take your license? And I was like, you know, I would make money doing it, referring her bonds. And then I would still be at the club because I made money at the club every night. I did great, you know. So then COVID came. So it was no more club. And then I was like, well, let me take this class. I'm bored anyways. I'm in the house, right? And the Keys was super strict with COVID. It wasn't like Miami where everybody was outside, actually. We were all inside. So I took the class and I passed the class. Back then we used to do an internship. I did an internship, and I became the highest bond referring non-licensed agent for the person that gave me my internship, and he had a lot of different interns and a lot of bondsmen that worked for him. So I was actually the highest. I think it was like, I don't know, throughout my internship I referred like maybe $6 or $7 million worth of bonds in like in like 2 years. You know, I did good, you know. Okay. Because you can't do you're limited, but I did good. And I took it from there. So that's how I got into it.
Okay. So I want to backtrack a little bit, right? So you said you started dancing.
Right.
How did you get there? Like, what led you to that? Was this during college?
Yep.
Okay.
So I have my homegirls.
Okay.
They were in college with me, and they would be like, and my one girl, she had a kid. So we were already like, it was like my second or third year, I think. And she was like, oh, you know, they were waitressing.
Okay.
So I babysat the kid. So one day the kid got sick. The kid had like I didn't have any kids back then. So the little girl, she had like a high fever. So I'm calling the place that they said she worked at, and I'm like, Porky's? That don't sound like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm like, hey, I'm looking for so-and-so. And they were like, you know, and it was so they didn't tell me that they were going to dance. So then when I knew, then they were like, yo, B, you should go. Like, you'll make a lot of money. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, you know, I was shy. I didn't want to go. And then, you know, that one day I just went. I went, and we found a whole nother babysitter for the kid. Yeah. And, I went, and I was in there, and I made a lot of money that first day. You know, that's all it takes. And I was like, oh, I could do that. So.
So that's tough right there, because, like, all right, so I see in that lifestyle, of course, the money's coming in fast.
Right.
And sometimes it can get difficult to kind of stray away from that, right?
Right.
So I know you said you started the Bell Bondsman after the clubs kind of like shut down after COVID, right?
Yeah.
So what was that process for you as far as like COVID wise? Like, what was that for you, COVID?
Well, first of all, let me tell you something. Like when I started dancing, like it was a long time ago, and it wasn't like everybody was a dancer back then. It's not like today.
Yeah.
Everyone, girls are like 16. They're like, I can't wait till. Well, they just raised the age to 21, by the way.
Yeah.
But which I think is like crazy. You know, I mean, everybody should be able to. I'm more like of a person. I think like everybody should be able to. You're 18. You should be able to drink and do what you want. You can drive, right? You can vote. So, but anyways, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, I started dancing in an era where it wasn't like everybody was trying to be a stripper. It was kind of like a hush-hush thing. So the ones that were doing it, like we were making a lot of money, and it was like a different situation. We were making a lot of money. Like now, in my last maybe like I stopped dancing 2 years ago.
Okay.
So in my last 5 years before that, I probably made a third of the money that I made maybe the 5 or 10 years before. Back then, if we didn't make $3,500 to $5,000 a night, it wasn't a good night.
Yeah.
These last 3 years, you know, or before it was like $1,000 a night was your goal. It's like the goal diminished because it's just everybody started coming over here. It was so many. It's like so it's
crowded.
Instagram, everyone's twerking, everyone's doing whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's cool. But I'm just saying, when I started, it was very hush hush. Nobody talked about it. Nobody really wanted to be a dancer. You didn't tell your family. It was kind of like frowned upon.
Yeah.
Now everybody's like, you know, it's
follow
like
me.
It's like glorified,
I'm at the club.
You know?
Yeah, come check me. Yeah.
Right. So that's how I really got into it. In the beginning, of course, you know, you're like, oh yeah, this is cool. You know, I can go to a club and make money and meet guys and party all at the same time. Oh, this is the dream job. So you start, you know, you have a few years where you're like, you know, I can go to Louis and buy purses every day. So you're like doing whatever. Everyone does that. I did it too. But then comes the time when you're like, okay, you buckle down. So the dancer that really makes it is the one that treats it like a business. It's like a 9 to 5. You set a schedule. You take it serious. You know, you're there to make money in the time. You're not there to party. You're not there to get drunk. You're not there to meet people. You're not meeting guys. It's a business. This is your job. I used to tell people that used to come see me at the club, like say if my friends came and saw me at the club, I'd be like, I'm not hanging out with you here. I got 6-7 hours. Like, I don't hang out with you at your job at the bank.
Yeah,
people
I gotta
like
make
don't
the most money.
understand that. They feel like, oh, that's just. And so if you take it serious, you can make a lot of money. So and that's what I did. That's how I bought my strip club, because I saved a lot of money. And then in 2012, I bought a club.
What was the name of the club?
Living Dolls.
Okay, shout out to Living Dolls.
It was in the Keys. But yeah, I had that for a few years, and then, you know, every business has a lifespan, and unfortunately, me fighting so hard to get that club, I didn't really focus on learning how to run it before I got it. I just wanted a club. And then I remember the first day I got it, I walked in there and I was like, I sat down and I fought so hard with the lawyers to get it. All the lights were off and I said, what do I do now? So now I had to hire people. I ended up hiring all my friends and everybody I knew. Worst mistake ever. So you learn, you know?
Yeah.
So every business has a lifespan. But going back to COVID, like, I did real good doing bonds with COVID, because you know what? Okay, so this is what we did.
Okay.
All my stripper friends, because I'm, you know, I'm still cool with everybody, and I'm still in that scene because they refer me bonds, right?
Yeah.
We had the parties, the you know, the underground parties.
It was a lot of
Some
like in-house parties.
They were cooking, making hibachi, doing this, delivering food, and guess what else? Bonds. Anything. The two things that still work was still like the on the DL dancing, whatever they did, and people are still gonna go to jail. And I survived through COVID, really, really good through bonds, because they're gonna get that money to get out of jail.
That is wild. Like I'm gonna shout you out because like anybody that survived during COVID, you a hustler.
Well, the government helped me with all that PPP and the you know, all those that money that was just flowing for. So people were going to jail and it was nothing to them. We were all rich during COVID.
Yeah. So exactly, explain to me what a Bell Bondsman does.
Well, we bond people out of jail. What happens is people go to jail. The judge either lets them out on if you have a record or you depends, on your history, on the judge, on how they feel, whatever, like on the county.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like some counties have a bond schedule, some don't, and they set bail. So you go see a judge, first appearance. You have 24 hours to see a judge. They will, you know, they will look at the affidavit and they will see if these charges are valid, and they usually always do because it's first appearance.
Yeah.
It's like they never be like, oh, let me just. Very seldom they're just like, oh, this is bullshit. Let me throw it out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then they either set a bond or they let you out on pretrial. Pretrial, they just let you out, and then it's kind of worse. I mean, I always tell people, it's like they put you on an ankle bracelet and you got to sit at home, but you don't have to pay a bondsman. So me personally, I'd rather pay a bondsman and have my freedom while I'm, innocent till proven guilty, because that means like you're guilty till proven innocent. So that's a whole nother story. Like, I don't believe in that.
Okay. So tell me, like, what are some of the people that you have bonded out in this process since you started your journey?
I bonded out a lot. I bonded out a lot of people, a lot of regular, normal people like me and you, then also celebrities. I've had a few. I bonded out Baby Soldier.
Okay.
I bonded out Suki.
Shout out to Suki.
Shout out to Suki.
Okay.
And a few more, I bonded out a few people that, football players, cops, lawyers, very like prominent businessmen and stuff like that.
Okay. So I like to always ask this question. Normally it's artist side of it, but I want to get your side of it, right? So in your journey of being a Bell Bondsman, what was like a dark moment or time for you as far as the process of going through it?
Plenty. First of all, I come from a county where there was like 5 or 6 bondsmen. They had been there for 20 years, 40 years. Some of them had like inherited the business from their parents. So like they were giving me a hard time when I first started. Well, they wanted to, but then when they found out who I was and my dad ran that whole county, they were like, okay, let me not mess with her. But like coming up before, when I did my internship, like nobody was trying to help me. So nobody was like, when I did my internship. So when you do an internship and you become a bondsman, right? You pass your test.
Yeah.
I passed my test on the second go. The test is super hard. And I only passed it, honestly, because I had my degree. Criminal, I did criminal justice and communication, but I did some criminal justice too. So I knew some of the stuff already. Nobody tries to help you. Other bondsmen, they're not very helpful because they think that you're going to get a piece of the pie. So I just had to go take the piece of the pie because they weren't going to give it to me. So I had to learn. So when I started, first they take, when you refer bonds, you don't get all the money from a bond. Like the bondsman, the bonds company, like I have a company now, they take most of your money. They take half. So in my county, I was like, you know what, let me open a company. Nobody helped me. I went through so much. If I could tell you how much money I spent even trying to get on Google, build a website, get, search engine optimization, find a processor that would accept credit card. Nobody wants to help you. And even to find insurance companies, because what they were telling me, like the people who I interned with, they were like, oh no, B, like you got to stay under us because for you to get a contract with an insurance company, they're going to check your credit. You're going to need like $60,000, $70,000, to get because you get writing power from them. I can go to the jail and write for $100,000 right now. And that's like credit from them. So I believed them. Why would I not believe them? They gave me an internship, right? So I was really so I already had my company for like 6 months and I was still giving half my money to somebody else. So yeah, it's really it's like everything else, like the music business, everyone tries to cutthroat you. But then, the same lady.
Yeah.
Shout out to Annabelle.
Shout out to Annabelle.
I have to say it. In-N-Out Bell Bonds. I will always thank her for the rest of my life. One day I had a bond, and the guy that I was under, he didn't answer my phone call. I remember it was $80,000, and it was a good bond. It was people from Wisconsin. They had signers. I said, shit, what am I going to do now? So I called her, and I said, listen, Annabelle, I know I'm under this other guy, but I want to sell you this bond. And she was like, okay, I'll do it. It's good. Can you have all the paperwork? Da, da, da. I hadn't spoken to her in a long time. And then when she talked, she was like, what do you mean you have your own company? I said, no, I have my company, Miss B's Bell Bonds, but I'm still writing under some. Why would you do that? And I said, because that's what they told me I had to do. She's like, that's wrong. She's like, you can get under this insurance company. Let me help you. And she sent me the contact. Within like a week, I have my own insurance company. And now I have a bunch. But I'm just saying, like, she really helped me. Like, and that's what people don't never want to help you. Whether you do music, whether you sell, you could sell flowers on the side of the road. No, ain't nobody trying to help you.
That's facts. So would you say like there's adversity in that field, you being a woman? Because, you know, I know sometimes in different workforces that could be a thing.
Yeah,
like
they try
being
me.
a woman.
They try me.
So, like, what are some experiences I know you saying, do you think that was based off of the fact that you being a woman?
Yeah, definitely that I'm a woman. Even when I owned the strip club, it was because I was a woman, because it's a man-dominated industry. But it's also like, for instance, like I'll bond people out of jail, and then other bondsmen will be like, oh, yeah, you ain't got to pay her. Like, say if I do payments, she don't got the muscle to pick them up. Like, and that little do they know, I got a lot of muscle because I'm a woman. I need to hire more people than y'all need to hire. Because I need to, I got to pay my people. So they're already there. They think I'm not prepared to take somebody back to jail if they don't do what they got to do. You know, so I had to teach them about that.
So give me the horror story or the worst story or an experience that you had as far as like that process, right? So like, for example, one of my favorite movies, shout out to Ice Cube, I think it's All About the Benjamins. And I think he's in that field, right?
Yeah.
And in the movie, he's trying to get the co-star in the movie. And it's a journey. It's a process to get him. And it's all about a lotto ticket and there's diamonds. It's a whole bunch.
And you chasing people down.
Yeah. So, like, give me a story as far as, like, where you had to go through chasing somebody. Like, that was a little bit challenging.
Shoot. The worst story I'm gonna tell you is my own. So I, like I said, my family is my family, but they're my blood. But my real family, my sisters, like I grew up with them, so they really are. That's my family. So, our brother went to jail.
Yeah.
He always in and out of jail. Love him. And he was out and he wasn't doing too good. He was on some drugs and stuff. So I bonded him out and he had to go back in. He had got a violation of probation and you know, I forfeited on the bond.
Yeah.
So my sister, she's like, B, he's out here, he's gonna meet me right now. Come pull up so you can
get him.
You can grab him.
You can grab him.
So, you know, I always call the police. I was by myself. I didn't have nobody with me because they weren't available. And it was just like that. Sometimes, you know, that's the problem. Like, it has to be right then and there. Like, we'll hear somebody's going to get on a flight. Like, you got to be, like, or get on a bus. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to be there. You have to send somebody. So I'm thinking, okay, so that's my brother. We grew up together. Like, we love each other. Like, he just going to be like, all right, B, let me go lay down, you know?
Yeah. He tried to run.
I called the you know, the sheriff for backup, and they were like, all right, B, they know me and whatever. So we pull up. She's talking to him, right? And it's literally right by my house in the Keys. So I pull up, and, you know, I pull up to where he can't get out. They pull up to where he can't get out. And I said, what's up? And I don't want to say the name.
Yeah.
He looked at me. He said, what's up, sis? I said, you know, bro, you know. And I pulled my badge out. And I said, and they came and pulled up, and he looking like, you know, he on whatever. And he said, hell no, sis. Fuck that. He said, I said, listen, I ain't never seen nobody. He ran through like a roofing company. He was on a roof. You know what I said? I said, fuck it. I said, let it. I just let it go. And then he ended up getting caught all by himself. But sometimes, like, you know, I am not going to cut myself all up going on other people's property and stuff like that. That was one of the worst ones because it's family. So I didn't want the police beating him up. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, that's what you know, so it's like, I was like, okay, just let it go. Because I damn sure didn't want them to touch him, like, do nothing bad to him.
That's a tough one. I'm not going to lie. Because, like, when it's family, it's like, you don't want to see family like that.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
People I know always do me the worst. A lot of people don't bond out, like, illegal immigrants or, like, certain type of people. We have, like, a criteria that we use, I do. Yeah. They always come correct. You know why? Because they don't want to get deported. Like, a lot of people, like Haitians, Jamaicans, people that don't have, like, they're not they're like residents, right? Mm-hmm. They're not citizens. People don't want to touch them. I do. I might take some collateral, but I do, because those people really don't want no problems.
Yeah.
Most of them don't want no problems. They just want to get, they don't want to get deported, you know? So yeah, I do a lot of those.
Okay. So I wanted to ask you regarding with your field of being a Bell Bondsman, right? Okay. So it's election time and things are coming up. A lot of things are up for debate and things of that sort. So how does your field, as far as like the election and policies, does it play a factor in that?
Of course.
Okay.
Florida is a bail state. For instance, there's a few states that are not bail states, so they don't believe in bail. So that's why my main goal is to be in Florida. Florida is my state. The government seems to think that, you know, different parties seem to think that bail is not necessary, and I don't agree with that. Even if I wasn't a bail bondsman, I don't agree with that, because this is like this. Imagine everybody gets out. Even people in Miami, they're like, "Oh, I'm getting out. I was trying to post bond with you, but I'm getting out on pretrial. Now I have to get this ankle bracelet. I got to stay in jail for 3 more days until the ankle bracelet people come here and put this bracelet on my foot, and then I got to stay at home." It's kind of like they are sentencing you before you are even like seeing a judge. I thought in America you were innocent till proven guilty, right? And I understand that the bail, like with the money and all that, I understand there's always going to be a conflict. But imagine being on the other side. Imagine you're rich, right? Mm-hmm. And everybody gets out, and they get out just for certain misdemeanors, like purse snatching in New York is a misdemeanor or something. Like you keep getting out. So now you have all these criminals that are out. They're not showing up for court. Who's picking these people up?
Yeah.
Who's looking for them? Who's paying for them? Who's paying for the people? Because listen, me, when I got to pick somebody up, I got to pay my pickup team. My pickup team is 3 dudes. And if I got a bond that's $100,000 that I made 10 bands on, I definitely got to give them 10. That same 10% goes to them, first of all, and any expense. So if I have a bond that is in Kentucky, right? It's from Florida, but the guy left to Kentucky. I'm going to find him, because I find crackheads under trailers. Like, it doesn't matter. I find everybody.
Yeah.
So now I got this crackhead under a trailer in Kentucky. Now I got to pay 3 dudes. I got to pay for their flight. I got to pay for their rent-a-car. I got to pay for their hotel. I got to pay for their meals. You think, so where do you think, if the government has to do that, that money is coming from? It's coming from you and you and you and you and you. You understand?
Yeah.
That's where the problem comes in. Or they're not even going to find these people, because there's different, like, say there's an NCIC warrant, which means it's like a nationwide warrant, and they don't want to pay for it. Guess what? Now these people are in other states committing crime. Now they did a crime in New York. Now they're in Jersey. Now they're in Massachusetts. Now they're over here. They're all over the world committing crimes, and nobody's coming to look for them. So now we're so worried about all these immigrants coming in. We're like, oh, we don't know who they are. They could be criminals in Cuba and whatever country they're coming from, Russia. Yeah. We're going to have criminals in this country that are going to know how to manipulate the system to just go. Because people don't care. Certain people, they will pack their shit and live anywhere else and do the same thing they did in the last place until it don't work for them no more. So to me, bail works, because you got to call me once a week. If you don't call me for the first week, I'm going to be like, you don't answer, I'm going to call my team and say, put this guy on the radar. Let's see where he at. What's his last location? You know, we have cash. We have a lot of that you can send a cash app and we can find you. Okay. So it's like the world has been, it's good for us. Like but I'm just saying the government is either going to pay for it and use our money, or they're not going to do it. Like my friend was just in California. She lives in California. And she said that she called the cops because somebody was trying to break in her house. She said nobody came. They were banging, like trying to get in the door. Her man was standing there with a gun. Like, now you got to shoot somebody yourself. You got to kill somebody, because these people know that the cops, it's not about somebody breaking in and they're just trying to do it, but they know the cops are not coming.
That's why they're doing it.
They know. Like when I went to Cali for the BET Awards, I told my manager, we're downtown, we were in a nice hotel, and we kept being downtown, going to all these nice restaurants. I said, Rory, I said, what don't you see here? Like, what is the problem down here? He said, I don't know. You know, I'm aware. I said, I haven't seen a cop since I got here. In Miami, there is cops on every corner. You're going to see a light down the street. On South Beach, we're in downtown L.A.
Yeah.
It's homeless people everywhere. I was walking down the street. I was like, damn, well, maybe I didn't even have on.
Let me tuck my purse.
Yeah, I was like, but I didn't see one cop, and nor did he. There's no cops. They're all for, like, defund the police. Certain states, like Florida, we're a bail state. We're a police state. You know, that's how I think we should be.
Okay. All right. Okay. Wow. All right. So, like, if somebody, because it could be somebody right now watching that is interested in getting in that field, like, what is some advice that you would give them going into that field?
Well, my advice is, first of all, I'm going to be teaching a class. I'm going to be doing a course to show people how to become a Bell Bondsman from A to Z. Literally, because the steps are so complicated, even to get your license. Like, you got to do so much stuff. You got to get letters of recommendation, fingerprints. You got to take a class. Nobody knows where to take the class. And then you take the class and you still don't know nothing. So then I have a study guide, like, that's really guarantees you to pass that class. Like, I have it, like, figured out doing that. And then also how to run a bail bonds business, like, from A to Z, like, everything. Like, it's a no-brainer. Like, everything that took me all this money and all this time to figure out, I'm going to give them the blueprint. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Okay. So if y'all interested in getting into that field, y'all tap in, y'all follow her, hit that link, and get the information so y'all can go ahead and get started. All right? And, of course, we can't go past this right here. Got to touch base on this right here.
Right.
Go ahead and show this. So tell me exactly, how did this happen?
I've always been an influencer. You know, I've always had a lot of followers before I did Bell Bonds. I do a lot of other things. Like, I have a lot of other brands that I do, or, you know, I do hostings for clubs. I still do it. You know, it's like, it's what I like doing, you know? So me being a dancer, doing videos, working for certain artists and stuff has opened doors for me to be able to, you know, so people kind of like my story, because, like, a lot of people don't feel like, you know, a lot of us, we don't feel like we could ever get out the club. I was in the club for 20 years. And it's not that we don't feel like we could get out, but it's like, it's so easy just to stay. And it's so, with anything, you know. So when I had somebody that managed my brand, they, you know, I did an interview for them. They, you know, they asked me to do an interview. I did an interview, and then they put me on the cover of their magazine for the BET Awards. And I was there, and it was cool. It was a lot. I spoke in front of a lot of people, and it was good. Like, I felt like for the first time in my life, like, I can really inspire people to do, you know, like, to really do what they want to do. Like, you can make it.
Yeah.
You know, making it is just a mindset. It is a mindset, and it's from the time you wake up in the morning. It's from before you go to sleep. You have to map it out, and that's what I did. When I went through all my things and I was trying to get out of it, I worked so hard for the next step, which I didn't even know what it was going to be. That kind of fell in my lap. So but you have to have a mindset, you know, no matter what you want to do, and you have to really put your all into it. And so when I started talking to people and they were, like, listening and standing up and clapping, I was like, oh shit. Like, I really inspire people, so that kind of makes you feel good, you know. And I want to help. I always want to help people, so that's how that came about. It was just an interview, and then they liked my story, and they.
You got an inspirational story.
Right.
Oh my God, I gotta finish up reading it. I got halfway from before we shot. I want to tell you that I love the cover. How did the cover come together?
Oh, we thought about a lot of different things we could do on the cover, but I just wanted it to be authentically me, because for such a long time, me being, like, the mayor's daughter and being in a political family, I always had to hide the things that I did. Like, I was always looked down upon, like, being a dancer, owning a strip club, like kind of doing what I wanted to do, like not following in their footsteps, you know, not saying that they were wrong. They're good people and they're a good family, but I just didn't want to do that. You know, they're very conservative. They didn't agree with the things that how I was living. Not that I was living wrong in that sense, but I, you know, so I wanted it to be, you know, when they wrote the article, I sent it back 3 times because they kept saying, oh, she was a manager at a strip club. Oh, she owned a strip club. And I said, listen, I was a stripper, and I need you to put that in there because a whole county knows me, and a lot of people know me. They're going to read this and going to be like, this is fake, and I don't want to come across fake. If you don't like me for it, that's cool. I made it. I'm good. I'm up now. So whoever didn't, you know, doesn't like the way I made it, it's cool to me. I'm up.
It's part of your story.
Right? It's my story. So thank God that Ace, the owner of the magazine, and his wife, they were so great. They really wanted to put like my vision, like, because they really included me in that. And they said, well, what about an alter ego? And I said, that is me, because I am the Bell Bondsman, and I do my job, but then I also still do club hostings. I'm developing a supplement line. I'm doing a wig line. You know, I'm still out like popping bottles and doing the sign for promotion. I do all of that. And people be like, she's a Bell Bondsman? I still do all the stuff with the artists and stuff, you know. I don't want to give that side up because I did that my whole life. So, you know, they put that on that cover for me.
I like that. I love that right there.
Gotta give them credit.
It's an amazing cover.
Ace and his wife, they that magazine is really good. They wrote such a good article. I mean, I know you started reading it. When I read it, I was kind of like, they did good.
I love it. Get your copy, and read it. Honestly, there's a lot of different stories in here. It covered. I seen Master P and a couple of other people also. So tap in, and I would love for you to sign this for me.
Okay, I will.
This would be great for me right here. All right, and exactly, where can they find you?
Well, first of all, they need to remember my phone number because all this Instagram stuff is not going to work when you're in jail, right? I always tell people that. Like, all my posts and stuff, I'm like, remember my number, 305-783-7006. You can't take your phone to jail. 9 out of 10, they're not going to let you write anything down. When you go to jail, you know, if you go to jail, ask the cop before you go to jail, hey, listen, let me write down my credit card number if you have one. Let me write down my family's number. Let me write down my bondsman's number, my lawyer, on a piece of paper. They will let you take that in. It says the guards at the jails, they don't do that because they don't have time for that. Yeah. Do you know how many people call me and I'm the only person they have? Do you know how much stuff I go through just to, and they're good people, man. They're good people, and they're like, please go on Facebook, my mom, and then they have like a whole family. They don't know where they are. So it's like people don't, and you could get in trouble for some BS. It doesn't have to, you don't have to be listened. And that's what I want to let people know. Not all people that go to jail are like career criminals or bad people. There's a lot of good people that go to jail. Yeah. You know, you could get pulled over for a DUI. You could have a suspended license. You could have an expired tag. You could be in your friend's car and something drops in the car. Like, listen, you could go to jail for weed. It could be anything. Or you could just go to jail because a cop wants to take you to jail.
Wrong place, wrong
time. And
they
do that. Yeah. They do that. Okay? So like I said, make sure that you always have your ducks in a row. And one of them is have my number, 305-783-7006. You can follow me at mzbee.tv. That's my Instagram. I have Facebook, Bianca DeGennaro, Miss B's Bell Bonds. And that's it.
I want to thank you so much for coming on. And also follow A28.podcast on all platforms from Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Spotify. Also follow the AB Club Studios if you need any help as far as getting 4K cameras and natural lighting for your podcast. Hit us up. We got you.